My name is Hughie, and today I'm going to tell some stories about some of my most memorable shiny encounters in Pokemon Go. Without further ado, let's get started and tell the stories of these shiny Pokemon. So starting at the beginning, we have Shiny Slacking, which is the first shiny Pokemon on my account, caught in 2019, July 2019. This Shiny Slacking was the first shiny Slackoth, I should say, that I caught on the Slackoth Community Day in 2019. And at that point in the game, I had no idea about community days, and I just happened to play in the city centre on the day that it was happening. I was so surprised by all of these little sloths running around. It wasn't a Pokemon that I was too familiar with either. That's not the end of the story. I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she was playing Pokemon too at that point. She doesn't anymore, but she did when we both first started. And she turned her phone to me and said, "I think my game is broken. One of these sloths is pink." And I couldn't believe it. I knew about shinies, so I knew that she must have caught a shiny Slackoth and that she didn't realise that's what was going on. And as soon as I caught my first pink one, I evolved it straight away into Slacking. To this day, this Slacking is still one of my strongest Pokemon overall, if I sort by combat power here. You can see I don't have to scroll down very far to find it. It was at the top spot for a very long time. Next is this shiny Alolan Golem. And at this point I knew what a community day was, and I knew how rare shinies were. And despite that, on a trip to London, I spent all day shiny checking Alolan Geodude to try and catch a shiny. And I could not believe it, but it took me almost 700 encounters to catch a shiny. And I thought that my game had broken, but it's just that they were that rare. They were spawning as part of an Alola takeover event, I think, when they had first been added to the game. And again, when I caught it, I evolved it straight away, despite not having great IVs. Next up is this Latios. And I had no idea that legendaries could be shiny when I caught this Pokemon. So I got my weekly research breakthrough back when legendaries appeared in those weekly breakthroughs. And this green Latios essentially jump scared me because I'd never seen it before. When I've played Pokemon games in the past, I've tried to catch shiny Pokemon, but catching a shiny legendary in those games is essentially unheard of. So I didn't know that the legendaries were possible. I didn't know you could catch the legendary shinies in this game. So far that's 3 Pokemon which taught me something about the shiny mechanics about Pokemon Go. Next we have this Mr. Mime, which I caught in Manchester. And to this day I associate Manchester with Mr. Mime just because of how prominent this memory was. I don't particularly like Mr. Mime. I don't think it's a very good shiny, but something really memorable was this green Mr. Mime popping up in Manchester. Mr. Mime and Latios, both shinies that suffer from the green shiny bias that I believe happened because of a bias in the code that determined what colour a shiny Pokemon would be in earlier generations of the game, which is why so many of those early generation shinies are greens and sort of beige greens as well. Next up is this Giratina, my Pokemon Go career, I was really invested in the Go Battle League because of the legendary rewards you could get. So this Giratina was a grind, and it took a lot of battles to encounter it, but I think it's a really great shiny, and I have really strong memories of playing Go Battle League matches when I was travelling on the train. I used to work evenings and nights when I was, well, in this time period, and I believe I got this shiny quite late into the evening, and it really felt like a good closer to the day. I had to include this shiny Gengar. Some of you may know the story behind this Gengar already, but Gengar Community Day was the video that started this channel, so I thought I would include it as a little throwback to that first video. I haven't watched that video since, but I should go back and check it out and see how much my production quality has changed. This is a Great League Gengar as well. Gengar again, not a brilliant shiny, to be honest. It's really similar to the actual non-shiny Gengar, isn't it? The eyes stay the same, it's just a slight desaturation. Let me know if you'd like another Pokédex video. This changed Pokédex means it will be really interesting to try. I'll have to put together a new Pokédex video. Next up, I have my shiny Rayquaza, which is currently my buddy Pokemon, because I'm going to get this to the required buddy level, and maybe eventually I can use a gold bottle cap to get the IVs to 100 to make it my first ever Shondo. I don't have any perfect shinies, but I think if I was going to have one, it would probably be this Rayquaza. So before remote raid passes were added, you had to stay within the range of your raid in order to well, join the raid. And maybe remote raid passes had been added at this point, but anyway, I remember catching this shiny. I'd been doing a few Rayquaza raids, and I was in the car with my girlfriend and her dad, and we drove past a raid, or we parked up at a raid. We were definitely in the car, and as we drove away, I was just getting to the countdown timer for the raid to start, so I nearly missed this raid because we drove away from the location as it started. But I got in and I obviously beat the raid, and then this shiny appeared. So not only is it a great shiny Pokemon, brilliant colours, it's also definitely a Pokemon worth having. I presume anyway. I think Rayquaza's probably still relevant for a raid boss attacker. So yeah, I know that it's 100% catch rate for shiny legendaries from raids, but yeah, I nearly missed even joining the one that I called this one from. So this shiny Christmas themed Pikachu, well, it was my first shiny Pikachu ever, I think, and I caught it on the 27th of December, so 2 days after Christmas in 2020. Yeah, I remember seeing this little fella with his Christmas outfit. Was a nice little treat a few days after Christmas during the Christmas period. Yeah, pretty cool. One of my favourite shinies, actually. One of the favourite shinies that I've got. And finally, another shiny that some of you may recognise, my shiny Bidoof. So called because this is the only shiny that I caught during an event called the Bidoof Breakout back in 2021, and I did make a video about that event too. But this Blastoise spawned in the wild, and that's how I found out that wild evolved spawns could be shiny. And I obviously called it Bidoof because I was hoping to get a shiny Bidoof. this shiny. But this Riolu was spawning from 7km eggs, and I think as part of an Easter event, the 7km eggs were hatching in 1km or something like that. So I was opening and hatching these eggs,